I know there are a number of people here at the dinner last night where Matthew gave a spellbinding speech. Matthew Guy's just getting better and better every day. He's growing in confidence. I can just see it. I watch him a lot, and his confidence is sky high. Helped last week by the result in Northcote, which I'll now turn to for a minute if I can. So the Northcote by-election was held last Saturday. Normally, the Liberal Party would run a candidate because we have this notion that we have to fly the flag. A very old Liberal Party notion. We've got to fly the flag. We would have got 15% of the vote. We would have preferenced Labor, and Labor would have won. Labor would have then said, "Oh, great vote of confidence in the Andrews government." Unless we'd spent $200,000 to $300,000, our vote would have dropped. The takeout of the by-election would have been bad result for Matthew Guy. His primary vote went from 15 to 12 or something. So I went out and had a talk to the Northcote branch members about whether we should run or not. And one view was, can't we just run a candidate and not campaign? I said, you can't do that because that'll mean our vote will drop, will be the takeout, as I said. If we campaign, we have to run a full campaign because the others will be. Maybe 100, 200, 300 grand, who knows? 400 is a reasonable number for a state by-election these days for the Liberal Party. A lot of money. So we decided not to run, and what happened? Well, Labor lost a seat for the first time since 1927. Labor spent 600, the Greens spent 300. They had an absolute war between them. We spent nothing and we feel like we won. Now, there's a point in me saying this, which is I try and get the Liberal Party to think about doing things a different way, smarter, better, nastier against Labor. This is not a social club we're running here. We're trying to smash the Labor Party, they're trying to smash us. This is a war zone out there. There's no more nice guy in the Victorian Liberal Party. A couple of Labor people, when we said we weren't running in Northcote, the Labor Party rang, there are back channels as you'll understand, they rang Nick Damaris and said, you can't not run in Northcote, the Greens might win. And Nick said, yeah, so what? Oh mate, these guys are extremists. Nick said, yeah, you give them preferences. So when you're thinking about giving preferences to us, bring me back, said Nick. Bring me back, otherwise, I won't say what Nick said, but 2 words which cannot be repeated in a family show. Like this. So what does all this mean? Well, there are 4 inner city seats. Now, Greens have won Melbourne the last election. They've now won Northcote. It's the first time Labor lost its seats in 27. That's a fair, like if you lose a seat you've held since 1927, you've got to start thinking things are not going well. Dick Wynne is the member for Richmond. This is another seat now where, very like Northcote, exactly the same. It's 52-48, we come third there. It's 52-48. If we don't run there, the Greens will win that seat too. But Labor can't afford not to campaign to defend a minister. They're going to have to spend a fortune to defend Dick. I mean, Dick Wynne, you know. So they can't afford to lose Richmond. Or next down the road, Brunswick, Jane Garrett's seat. Well, Jane's gone. So they put the ACTU president in. Jed Carney is the Labor candidate in Brunswick. It's another 2% seat. Well, if we didn't run there, the Greens would win that. But again, can the ACTU and the Labor Party afford for the president of the ACTU to be defeated? It's shocking for the ACTU's credibility. Well, they can't possibly not run hard there. So you've got Richmond and Brunswick, where Labor, if we don't run, are not going to win. But they have no choice but to campaign like Billy O to hold those seats against the Greens. So in being a bit smart about what we do, and ultimately these are decisions, by the way, for the local electors, in conjunction with the state MPs and head office. If our branch members in Brunswick and Richmond are okay about not running, we may not run there, which will cause mayhem within the ALP. Then you think to yourself, and they're the 4 seats people talk about. But yesterday afternoon, when I got back from a lovely trip to Canberra for the Federal Executive meeting, which was another 4 hours of my life I won't get back, that's another story though. I sat in my office and thought, maybe there are some other seats where we could create a bit of disharmony between the Greens and Labor. So we come to the seat of Williamstown. Now you look at the votes in Williamstown. Again, this will be ultimately a decision for the branch members in Williamstown. But if you try and look at seats where the Labor vote is in the low 40s and where the Greens and the Liberals vote is close together, and where in all honesty we don't think we can win the seat, even though we'd love to, obviously. So in Williamstown, Labor got 44, Liberal 28, Greens 20. So our vote will go up to 30. The Greens will come third behind us. So it's probably not for this election, but in due course, as the Labor vote goes down, the Greens vote goes up. There may be some other seats, and the other ones are Preston, Pascoe and Footscray ultimately, where the Greens vote is going to increase, go into the 20s and threaten Labor. We want our political enemies warring with each other, not with us. So we love it when the Greens and Labor go to war like they did in Northcote. It causes them huge damage, and the ramifications, of course, within the ALP of losing Northcote are dramatic. The Labor government in Victoria is in complete turmoil over what happened and what's going to happen to Wynne and Jed Carney and what's going to happen going forward. So we think about how we can be smarter as a political party, rather than just do things the way we've always done. And you've got to remember this, we've only won one state election in the last 21 years. One out of the last 5. So you keep doing things the same way, that's a terrible record. 1 in 21 years. And so we now try and get people to think about politics to be much more aggressive against the Labor Party. Slogans, tactics, campaigning, ideas, messaging, policy, roughing up the Labor Party where we can. As I said, normally we would run in Northcote and the inevitable result, people said, oh great, we kept flying the flag. And I said, but what does that actually mean? So we didn't run in Northcote. All it cost us was $10,800 because if you don't run, you don't get the public funding. So we got 6,400 votes last time at $1.70 roughly the public funding, a bit under 11,000 what it cost us not to run in loss of public funding. If you weren't running in lower house seats, you'd still hand out vote cards for the upper house. So you've got to get your upper house vote. But causing mayhem between our friends, it's a great idea. It's what we did at the federal election. You remember we talked about preferencing the Greens before the last federal election, which everyone in the party hated, of course, thought of it. But boy, it caused mayhem for Labor in Batman and Wills. And they spent a lot of resources, sent a lot of resources over there, out of Melbourne ports, out of Chisholm, out of Higgins. So they're the things we're trying to do. And finally, as we lead up to the state election, we have said to our federal friends, it'd be helpful if we didn't have a federal election before November 24 next year. We prefer the feds to go in May or June 19, and we've noticed things aren't perhaps as on the rails as we'd like them to be. So there are very serious challenges federally, as we know.